Welcome back to Dr. Aseem Malhotra. Aseem, thanks very much for coming back.
Great to see you, John.
What's this about you winning an award? Excellent in public health communication.
Yeah, pleasantly surprised to receive this award. I was asked to give a keynote speech last week in the House of Commons members' dining room, an event that was sponsored by the House of Commons, and the key organizer was a member of the House of Lords called Lord Lumba. And it was attended by doctors, politicians, people from the healthcare industry, even people from big pharma. And it was called the Global Health Awards 2025. It's the first year they're doing this. And it will be yearly held in the House of Commons. So, that gives it, I think, a lot of legitimacy in terms of the people who are supporting this particular award ceremony.
It is very encouraging that the establishment, well, not quite the establishment, but the edges of the establishment are now starting to take analytical thinking seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. And, this is the award. I'm very proud to receive this award. It's quite big, actually. But honestly, John, on that note, I would like to dedicate this award. I see myself as a medium for a message, and I honestly, genuinely believe that. I wouldn't have got to this stage with this advocacy if it wasn't also for the, people like you, people who subscribe to your channel, all the people in the sort of broader space who are making noise and are wanting better quality care in terms of healthcare. They're wanting more honesty from the medical establishment, from politicians, etc. So for me, this is just a dedication. It's a testament to that movement, and specifically, given the fact that my advocacy in the last few years has been primarily focused on issues of big pharma and the COVID vaccine, that award was given to me with that background. So, the people who are vaccine injured and the unvaccinated, they also deserve an award, in my view, for everything they've been doing.
And the amount of people that have suffered and come on this channel to talk about it is really quite humbling. Yeah,
no, for sure. And we've still got work to do. So I see this as a positive step. This isn't the end, not even close. But for me, this is, as someone, as an activist, as a public health advocate that has been involved in many different areas over the years, you've got to be tenacious and you've got to take some blows along the way. But ultimately, not adhering to the truth is only going to cause great harm to public health and to patients. Yeah. So that's why I do what I do.
Yeah, and this is part of what you do. I mean, you're a cardiologist. You took a special interest in diet, the appalling sugar situation, the ultra processed food situation. I mean, this has been your advocacy basically all the way through your career, hasn't it?
Yeah, and tied to that, the overprescription of medications, overuse of surgeries, overuse of heart stents, something I trained in. I mean, there's I've published on this stuff and try to get increasing awareness on these issues, through media, but historically, actually, mainly through mainstream media.
Yeah.
But of course, as we've seen during the pandemic, this policy of suppression of information, of coercion, of mandates, of censorship, has meant that we have had to use alternative means to get the message out, such as alt media, such as yourself, the likes of Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Russell Brand, to name but a few, Jordan Peterson.
You've done all of those. You've been with all of those.
Except Jordan I've not done yet, although I know he's interested in getting me on his show at some point, and we message each other from time to time. He does follow me on social media. But yeah, I think the other thing to mention that I think will give people hope is that I gave a keynote speech, which people can look up. It's online. And the title of that on my blog is "It's Time for the Medical Establishment to Admit We Made a terrible mistake." And in my keynote speech, I talked about the barriers to the truth being primarily psychological, not intellectual. And if people, and then I took them on a journey and said, I'm not going to bore you with lots of data on the COVID vaccine. I said, there's only one bit of data, one study you need to know about. And that should open your mind at the very least, or even get you to the point where you're thinking, we've got a major problem here. Yeah. And that was a Freeman study, which was a reanalysis of Pfizer and Moderna's trials, which revealed that from the very beginning, one was more likely to suffer serious harm from taking the vaccine. And Joseph Freeman in a video said this is actually, 2 to 4 times more likely to suffer serious harm from taking the COVID mRNA vaccine, Pfizer and Moderna, than to be hospitalized with COVID when everything is corrected for from the original trial data. Just think about that for a second, John. Yeah. Those trials are the ones that then led to the approval by the regulators, the coercion, and then mandates. But think about that, So I mentioned that in my talk, and this is the most heartening thing to mention, to discuss with you briefly, is at the end of the talk, I was going into the lion's den in many ways, but, John, for me, I'm not going to sugarcoat things. I'm going to be respectful. I'm going to be assertive, and I'm going to be persuasive in my advocacy. And that's what I tried to do in my speech. And there were no boos. There was a round of applause. I got many people coming up to me saying that was the best speech. People were gobsmacked. And I won't name these people because it's not fair to name them without their permission. Yeah. But 2 professors from Imperial College, one a transplant surgeon, one an orthopedic surgeon, who also got awards, by the way, they were sitting on my table. They were fascinated with what I've said. There was an element of, this now makes sense with what I've been seeing with my patients, etc. Here's my card, please contact me. The reason I'm mentioning that, John, is I think that there is a lot of people out there who understandably are very, very angry with what's happened. And that's predictable, if you like, with what happened with the mandates, coercions, people losing their jobs. But at the same time, there's a subsection of people, John, that feel that this was part of some kind of conspiracy, some sort of plan to depopulate for depopulation, to kill people. Now, I'm not saying that those people shouldn't have a voice and shouldn't be allowed to speak their mind. That's what democracy is about. That's what freedom of speech is about. And I'll always defend, their right to speak up, even if I disagree with them. But the more rational, logical approach, in my view, and certainly from my own experience, is that most of the people that have even been involved in supporting the rollout of the COVID vaccine, which I was one of, certainly for high-risk elderly at the beginning, is that they've only been subject to very limited information, which has been fueled and exacerbated by propaganda. But the positive side of all of it, John, is there is still a way there's a way to get through to them if information is articulated to them at the right place at the right time, maybe by the right person in the